What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today I figured it's a really good time to do an Eloise hero guide, kind of talk about what she's good at, what she struggles at, tell you kind of what build to build her around, especially. She is, of course, the Prophet Orb reward this week. Should you go for her? Probably not, but just in case you're someone who wants to go for her, I figured this would be the perfect time to give you my breakdown. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, and let's jump right into it. So first, let's start off with artifacts. Now, Eloise is a very interesting hero where, honestly, you can get away with like a Plate or Courageous or something like that in the early game. Free to play, first E5 hero, all those. She can do really well with just some damage reduction. And this is something I don't normally do. I don't jump to this immediately. Like, I don't. But I kind of want to put things like Withered Armor and Fearless Armor, aka Plate of Courageous, up there in the A tier. They're very strong, they're very easy to get. Granted, Withered Armor not so much, but Plate of Courageous definitely is an easy one to grab onto. They can serve you pretty well because you want her to have some damage reduction, some tankiness. Her damage comes from like over time. You want her to get hit a ton. You want to put her most likely in like slot 1, take a ton of damage, but then every time she gets hit, she slashes back at everybody. It seems to be a really, really great way to build her. Budget wise, these are actually for once like really, really good options. Now, if you're talking about, hey Barry, what's the top tier artifact to put on her? I mean, that's gonna be two of these right here. It's of course gonna be Crown and Splendid AMB. Those two are going to be some of the best ones for her. I lean more towards the AMB route. That's why the way I've built her. She definitely got to Valiant on the back of I think even just Glittery or maybe Radiant AMB on my Evil Mean team. Granted, we had Tixes and stuff like that, but the real hero was the Eloise on our account. Those two are going to be the best. Really, any type of damage reduction artifact is probably going to be kind of the top tier. MSS can be a decent one as well to make sure she doesn't get one shot if it is upgraded. A regular MSS I still think does pretty well. Same with a Crown. They're all pretty much something that she can deal with. Now, as far as offensive artifacts go, not really anything I would really consider. If you're looking for energy, she's definitely not an energy hero. Stuff like Demon Bell, Magic Source, they're not going to do any good. Something that is surprisingly decent as well. I have used an upgraded candy bar. Granted, it was only glittery, but it did help out a ton because the one big difference between her and Horus is Horus, after the third hit, he will break out of a CC, whereas Eloise does not. So I have seen an upgraded candy bar do okay, decent, nothing amazing. Regular candy bars, not going to be anything great on her. And the other thing to note is when we're talking about PvE damage, I mean, you can kind of put those, even Punisher Staff. It's just, none of these are really things that she's going to do great with. I mean, they're very subpar. She's not a damage dealer. That's one thing we need to talk about right away. If you're looking for a hero that can do Sealand, Aspen Dungeon, and PvE, well, she really does lack in PvE damage. I think with our V4 one, she did like a max of 4 billion damage on Broken Spaces and things like that. She doesn't do that great, so that's just a fair warning. She's not a PvE damage dealer, but what she is really good at, even with Plate or Courageous, Withered Armor, any of these artifacts in the B tier or higher, is get Sealand 20 done in Shadow completely by herself. Even with barely any, I don't think any imprints at all. I think I've seen someone do it with a maxed out pet, no imprints, and she cleared it with like a Plate of Courageous. It was kind of crazy. This is why I do say, I mean, she's kind of one of the best heroes out there, one of the best heroes in the game. I mean, we'll throw some of these other artifacts on here, but I mean, you guys kind of get the gist of it. You know what I'm talking about. One artifact I have not tested out is going to be the Torch, and a fully upgraded Torch. I don't know how she would work out. Honestly, it might be a decent synergy to try. I'll leave it in the B tier. I think she could be good with it because, of course, she's going to have a big burst of healing at the end of the round, and essentially the Torch is going to make all big incoming damage be spaced out as damage over time at the end of rounds, so it could offset that damage in a way, but I have yet to test it. I think it would be really cool to try an upgraded Torch on her as well. I'll probably try it in the future. So definitely look forward to that. Now, as far as stones go, so she's not a very fast hero. Speed stones are not going to be something that you even want to really go for on her. Number one I would put is an attack stone. The other one I would put up there too is, of course, holy attack. They're both really great stones for her. You just want to have as much attack as possible. If you go to the other attack stones, like the one with armor break, I'd probably put an A tier. I don't even know if I would put, I mean, I guess for the sake of it being that they are the attack stones, they are going to go in the A tier. The other one that surprisingly is good is attack HP. That's the one I run on my Eloise, both of them actually, on my evil meme team, and I really like it. It's a nice balance between offensive attack and HP for, you know, some extra defense. It's pretty good. After that, I would probably consider a crit attack. Decent. Same with attack block, but the one issue that I have with attack block stone is she already has a ridiculously high amount of block. It's kind of a wasted stat on this. Kind of is a wasted stat. So it depends on how you're building her. I mean, even at that, if you really want to, you could throw like a speed attack stone down here somewhere. But really, besides that, all the other stones are going to be pretty much bottom tier. Like every single one of them, bottom tier. Now, why is that? Well, that's mainly because she wants attack. The way she heals, the way she does damage is based on her attack. I think the biggest thing is her heal is what gives her the extra, is based on her extra attack. So you want her fully offensive out. It's kind of the way that I built her, is mainly all offensive. That's why A and B is so great on her. But, you know, crown, things like that are good. And again, she's just a slow hero compared to most in the PvP meta. You don't really care about her going first because you really just bring her for all those counterattacks. Now, when it comes to gearing, setup, things like that, if you are running an A and B setup, of course, you're going to want to run a 1-3 split gear setup. If, however, you do have resonance gear, you're most likely going to want to run her with a full resonance gear set. It's something I want to do on this account for sure. You'll see on this one, I'm running a holy attack here. I think on my other one, I'm running an attack HP. So both of them have been pretty good for me, but definitely a 1-3 split gear. I kind of like the weapon better just because it has crit. The extra crit chance can be nice. It's not a big difference if you change between the accessory, though. It might actually be better, in all honesty, running her this way if you can afford to, because that damage reduction is probably going to help her out over the crit chance. So that's probably the way you want to run her. Then again, if you are running something like a Plate of Courageous, I typically like running a full gear setup. I don't want to run a 2-2 because I don't want to miss out on the attack value here. Plus, of course, that damage reduction. If you are running a Plate of Courageous, I've had really good luck with the attack HP stone. It's more like a well-rounded build for her. So it's something to consider. Now, as far as enabling goes, this one I usually run a little different. I don't run growth because, again, we really don't need that speed. She's not competing to go fast. She's perfectly fine going slow since most of her damage comes from her counterattacks or passives. So I do run mightiness. I do also like vitality because she doesn't do a ton of damage with lethal fight back at all. I personally like vitality. You could also run shelter for more crit damage reduction, but I like the extra healing. Of course, Purify, I mean, is pretty much what you need to do unless you're talking about PvE. Mightiness for E4, and then Unbending Will for E5. Those are all really, really good. If you can get her Void enabled, I do think V3 is the big one to go to because this is upon blocking an attack, deals the damage to 3 enemies. This is what really does more damage. Now, if you can get to V4, that's really good. But as far as like V1, V2, they don't do too much for her. V3 is that really sweet spot, Game of Danger. That's the one you really want to strive to get to, and that'll be a really good thing. So there's no skins for her, so there's no reason to talk about that. But we can jump on over and take a look at our tech as well. So she is a ranger. You're going to want to have the whole first tier done, and then you are going to want to work on a couple things like anti-mage. Anti-warrior is only if you're seeing Garudas and Asmodeles in your server. If you're not seeing either, there's not much reason to go for anti-warrior right now. Anti-mage and anti-assassin are the two big ones. Who would have thought? Who would have thought you'd want anti-assassin a year ago over anti-warrior? It's kind of crazy to think about, but so many assassins have come out. We've had Drake, Sword Flash, Rogan. I mean, we got tons of assassins now. I mean, we got Tusi Lago, but who cares about Tusi Lago? Anyway, that's what you want to focus on here. And then after that, you might want to go into something like, if you're having a lot of doves on your server, a lot of Sherlocks, go for that shape shifting. But besides that, you should be in a pretty good spot. Honestly, it's something I need to finish doing as well, because I have been neglecting my guild tech. Never neglect your guild tech, and also make sure you take the time and upgrade your resonance gear on your heroes. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Hopefully this kind of gives you guys a little bit of tips, a little bit of help of how to build your Eloise, since I know some of you out there really want to build her, especially if you're building her as your first E5, because I would argue she's one of the best. Why? C-Lane 20, she's the best hero. She can get you to Death 1 and Death 50 in Aspen Dungeon very easily. She's a really solid PvP hero, and she's amazing at getting you to Explorer in Vortex, which is really big, important checkpoint. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time.